what's going on? Let's talk about tech pouches, compact tech pouches in particular. There's a million of them out there. I'll share 4 of my favorites. I'll rank them. I'll tell you which one I would keep if I could only keep one, and also show you what I actually keep in my tech pouch and pack each of them out. So you can see how things look when it's organized and also how much it impacts the overall bulk factor of these bags. So let's get into it. And super quickly, before I do, I just wanted to share some appreciation at the expense of sounding incredibly cringe, in that I just yesterday hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I launched this channel 7 months ago, so this has absolutely surpassed my expectations and something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. 10 years ago, I said I was going to do this. I created a video reviewing gear on a hike, posted it on YouTube, got like 8 views, and yeah, I've been procrastinating it ever since and launched the channel at a time in my life where I've never had so little time. Got a wife, 2 little ones, plus a dog, full-time job. But this is something that I have just genuinely been wanting to do for a long time, and there's something to be said about having less time and realizing how precious it is and just being very selfish with those spare moments of your life and how you want to spend them. This has been a wonderful creative outlet on one end, just the crazy thoughts that I've always had in my brain, being able to like put them out there, but just more importantly, the fact that there's 1,000+ internet strangers that somehow get a kick out of me talking about a zipper for 8.5 minutes. So anyways, just wanted to say thank you for anyone that's like watched the videos, supported the channel in any way and has been part of the journey. And anyone that's new here, I'll shut up now. My apologies. I know you're probably like, can you just talk about the damn tech pouches already? But anyways, thank you, and let's get into it. Let me show you what I carry, and I would say I'm like fairly minimal with what I carry, but this will immediately show you like, hey, are these tech pouches going to be a good fit? And if you carry a lot more than me, then probably not. But I carry a USB-C to Lightning cable, a 6-foot USB-C to USB-C cable. This is a 240 watt, which is like probably overkill, but they're pretty inexpensive. And this is what I'm charging pretty much everything with the exception of my AirPod Maxes. And the only reason why I still have this, I can't wait to eventually, I'm not gonna, get new AirPod Maxes anytime soon because they're super expensive, but yeah, just one less cable to worry about with everything else being USB-C. Then this is the Anker Prime 100 watt GAN charger. I bought all of this stuff, by the way, with my own money. I just find Anker has always been very reliable, and just at its price point, I feel like it's very well made stuff. And it's still pretty compact, a little heavy, but this thing charges everything: my laptop, tablet, camera, phone, everything. So I don't need to carry multiple cubes. You have 2 USB-C ports on there and a standard USB one there as well. Beyond that, I have a mobile battery bank. This is a magnetic one. Candidly, it's not the most efficient way of charging. Always cable is going to be a lot faster, but in a tech pouch, like this guy is like really compact and slim. Anything bigger, which is what I typically use, is a bulkier Anker that has an integrated cable. It charges super fast and I can charge a ton with it, but that's something I keep in my backpack. Got AirPods. These are the 4s with the active noise canceling. They're actually really impressive. The Pros have never fit my ears well, so I've always had like the standard AirPods, but it's nice that these are now USB-C and active noise canceling works not as well as the Pros, but really, really well. Then I've got this guy right here. This is my mouse, the Logitech MX3. It molds to my hand with uttermost perfection. I'm either going to use this as a mouse or I'm just going to use a trackpad. I've tried like the smaller, slimmer, more travel-friendly mouses when I travel, like for extended periods, even like weekends, and I want my mouse with me. I put this guy in there. Candidly, this is the only thing that I think complicates the compact tech pouch search. It fits in 3 of the 4 that I'll show you, but I feel like it really only fits really comfortably inside one. And then lastly, I have a pen and an SD card. So let's get into the tech pouches themselves. Number 4 on the list is the Bellroy Compact Tech Kit. Bellroy makes a lot of awesome pouches. I probably like the desk caddy a little bit more than this one. I didn't include it because it's too similar to two of the other ones that I'm talking about. So I wanted to include like the ultra compact option. Out of all of them, it's definitely, in terms of height, width, the most compact one. It's just a little bit chunky, but the material has some structure to it, but it's still soft enough that if you want it to collapse a little bit more, it can. It's got these elastic loops, which initially I didn't love, but they've grown on me. Still wouldn't say it's my preferred way of organizing stuff. And this is me just being super nitpicky, but compared to some of the other options, I feel like there's a little bit more of an intuitive access style for the way I like to snag my things. But here's a spot for the Anchor Prime, the mobile battery bank, like all my essentials fit perfectly, a place for your pen. And then here in the back, you have a little sleeve where an SD card goes. Travel wise, especially if you're trying to be minimal in terms of like space, footprint, it's a really great option. As you can see, the only thing is this is the only one that really like, it's not gonna fit the mouse in there. My main nitpick with it is the fact that it has structure to it. You can see it around the edges, but the material is also soft. The main reason why I don't love it is because on this side, the way they divide these two stretch mesh slip pockets is by just stitching it. And because that material is both structured and soft, and depending on what you've got in there, right? Like I've got the Anchor Prime, it creates like a dimple effect and just that little imperfection. I don't know, it just, you know, visually doesn't look great. And then just from like a feel standpoint, even if I take out what was in there that was creating part of like that indentation, you can still see it in there. And then when you're grabbing it, because it's both soft and yet structured, yeah, I don't like that it further indents it. So that's the main thing, but it's small and mighty and very effective from a minimal travel standpoint. Number 3 on the list, which in a lot of ways I think could and should be higher. I'll explain why it's not, but it's the Air Slim Pouch. This is the 2nd generation. So you got Air's new zipper pulls and new stretch mesh that they're using. If you compare it to this one, that's the most compact. It's definitely longer than it. From a width standpoint, they're like pretty much about the same, but it's significantly slimmer, and it also stands on its own like really well. The zipper on this is my favorite out of all 4 that I've talked about. It's super duper smooth. Yep, that's really good. From a Pilgrim Churn butter smoothness rating, I'd give it like a 9.2. You have an additional external zipper here, but it's PU coated, and this one's definitely a lot stiffer. But while the Bellroy is more compact in one way, this one's the most compact from a slimness standpoint, so it takes up such little space inside your bag. Organization wise, you get 4 stretch mesh slip pockets. I'll pack it out right now. AirPods, Anchor Prime, mobile battery bank. You have a spot for your pen, and then cables. You could put them in a number of places. Technically outside, you can put them back here or in this front stretch mesh pocket. Now, if you're trying to include a mouse in there somewhere bulky, then you do have to be a little bit more strategic with where you place things. I think that should work, which wouldn't be like my preferred setup having the cables there, but as you can see, the mouse actually does fit in there. My main nitpick with this one is because it is so slim in a positive way, just getting into it, it just gets a little bit tight. So the access, I would say, is not as effortless. It's still really easy, super practical with how little space it takes up. But I typically have to like use my left hand just to open it up, just to grab whatever I'm grabbing, versus my favorite option. And a big reason why it wins over this one is because of how easier it is to access things. And I feel like tech pouches, you want things really easily accessible. Number 2 on the list is the Evergoods Cap 1, the Civic Access pouch in the 1 liter. In many ways, the Air Slim Pouch is more practical. It has a smaller footprint than the Evergoods, but this guy is so satisfying to use. This is actually like my at-home tech pouch, which is really the one I use the most. And it's hard to explain. I mean, really, it's really comes down to this magnet is a huge reason for it. But it's got this magnetic flap mechanism. So it's really like fun, like opening it up. It doesn't stand in the way that that one does, but at the same time it opens up. You don't have to like hold it open, and it's just a different type of access. Really simple design. You just have two zippers, one on each side. One is just like a big compartment. So this is where I put in my cables. You also have like dividers, so you can technically put stuff behind it. I don't, because I don't have anything to put in there, and I just like to be able to see what I'm grabbing in there. Then on the other side, you've got a little divider there. So I'll put like the charger, mobile battery bank, AirPods in this guy, and then the pen sleeve on this one. It's like right in the middle. It slides right in. I feel like with the other tech pouches, yeah, if you're using your pen a decent bit, this one is the best for that. And then when you close it, you got it in there. Now, the mouse does fit, and I think the reason why this one's less practical than a lot of other ones, it's a little niche in the sense that it thrives when you're putting flatter stuff in here, slimmer stuff. But even things like not as bulky as a mouse, but just to show you as an example, like the mouse does fit. And when you close it, it still works, but then because this side and this side are touching and there's like nothing really in between, I would never keep my mouse there with it just like touching whatever other hard things I have on the other side. I'd rather just pack it elsewhere. But if you're using something like mainly for cables and slimmer things, at home, I have like my audio equipment, what I'm using here, the whole DJI set with the microphone, and this is where I keep it. And so every time I'm like gonna do a video, I just love like, all right, time to create some content. And then I just get in this bad boy. But love the magnet, very satisfying. And then their 420D nylon liner, they're using the same one on their CTB line for their backpacks, which I know some can argue maybe you want something a little bit more bomb-proof, but I think this is great for a tech pouch. It's both thin enough that doesn't make it excessively bulky as far as the fabric goes, but just still heavy-duty enough that like this is something you just like want to like throw in your bag, beat up if you want to. And I really like that they have this. You can like hook things to it, but this is just like a great way of holding it as well. So I've been using this a lot more than number one, but if I could only keep one, yeah, I mean, it's just not as versatile as the first one. So, but we'll talk about that right now. One other nitpick with this one is just the price. The other ones are like between $50 to $55, but this one's $75. $50 is already a lot of money for a tech pouch. I know people are like, I could put all that stuff in my Ziploc. You can, but you have no taste. I'm kidding. But yeah, just if you appreciate the little details in life, $50 is definitely justifiable for something that you'll use as much as a tech pouch. Number one is the Peak Design tech pouch. This is the small version of it. There's a lot to like about it. I think on one end is the form factor. The material has both like a nice structure to it, but it's also very malleable. As it sits like naturally, it has like a gusseted design, so it expands at the bottom, which I'll show you why it's so awesome. But if you compare it to the Air Slim pouch, for example, just when it's like held like this, the Air Slim pouch is definitely slimmer. But if you don't have a lot of stuff in here and you're like trying to like, you know, squeeze it in a bag or whatever, this thing gets super duper slim as well. If anything, like slimmer like on the bottom than this one, because this one just stays like that, so it always stands, and you get the advantage that it stands as well. Worth calling out also for both of these, you get loop attachment points. So if you want to be able to use this as a hybrid of a sling, which I personally would rather have a tech pouch that's dedicated for a tech pouch and a sling that's dedicated for a sling, but you have the ability in both of those as well. But what I really love is when you open it up, it has these accordion style dividers slash compartments in here. First of all, the stretch mesh. Peak Design stretch mesh, it's kind of like their own thing. It feels like neoprene. It's super, super nice. Feels tough as well. But in terms of quick access to my things, this tech pouch is just really hard to beat because of it. So I'll throw cables on one side, right? So if I need to grab my cables, they're like right there, a fingertip away. I don't need to open this or close it, but you still have that compressibility component to it. Throw my charger in there, AirPods. My mobile battery bank fits perfectly into this pocket. You've got 2 additional stretch mesh pockets here. You have another zippered compartment here with smaller little sleeves. These are perfect for SD cards, things like that. You have a ton of tiny little things. It's just great. I don't really need it beyond that. And then you also have a little pen sleeve here, but just, maybe not as easy to access. So I'd probably just drop the pen in there so I can easily access it or put it in that zippered compartment. And then lastly, if you want to carry your mouse with you, I feel like out of all of these, it's the one that does it the best, but it just makes it significantly bulkier. And when I'm in travel mode, I usually don't use my mouse until I'm settled in wherever I am, or maybe I'm gonna work out of a coffee shop or something like that. But even then, I'll just keep the mouse in a different place. But it does fit, but as you can see when I take it out, how much slimmer it gets. So yeah, this one is $49.95. This one is, the Air is $49, the Bellroy is $55, and then the Evergoods is the most expensive one at $75. So much of tech pouches comes down to what is your organizational style? What are you putting in here? And I am curious, right? For me, these are all the smallest versions that these brands offer, with the exception of Evergoods that has their half liter, which I think maybe I could still get away with, but then you don't get the little magnetic flap action, which is why I opted for it in the first place. But people that are carrying a lot more stuff, what are you carrying? Because there's so many super popular tech pouches that are 2 liters, 2.5, 3 liters. I can't imagine what I would have to find to put into those things. But yeah, curious to see what you guys are putting in there. Other than that, there's a million options. The Alpaca Tech Case Mini is also a really good one, but already similar enough to these two that I didn't feel the need to throw it into the mix. But yeah, get your organization on. Best of luck and cheers.